Welcome students, I am Ravi Shankar, and here we are going to see the competitive exam question papers. So the first question that is available here is, a charge capital Q is placed at the center of the line joining the two equal charges small q. The system of three charges will be in equilibrium if capital Q is equal to, that was the question. So let us draw a diagram. We are having two charges Q and Q separated by a distance. Let us consider the distance of separation as d. At the center point, we are having another charge considered to be capital Q. See, it was asked, what is the value of Q if the system is in equilibrium? What is the value of Q if the system is in equilibrium? See, if you want to say that system is in equilibrium, the net force acting on each charge should be equal to 0. So, in order to get the system to be in equilibrium, then I have to say the net force on each charge, the net force on each charge should be 0. Each charge should be equal to what? It should be equal to 0. So I will be marking the points like this Q to be at A, this Q to be at B, and let us take the center point as C. I am calculating that for total force that is acting on the charge Q, which is placed at A due to the other two charges, that is the charge placed at B and the charge placed at C. So first of all, I am calculating the force on the charge Q kept at A due to the charge Q at B. Let us calculate, or let us consider that force as F1. According to Coulomb's law, the force F1 is 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon 0 into Q. It is considered to be Q square divided by the whole distance. I am taking it as D square. Similarly, I am calculating the force on the charge small q kept at A due to the charge capital Q kept at C. Let us consider that force as F2. So the magnitude of the force is 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon 0 into small q into capital Q divided by the distance between capital Q and small q is taken to be d by 2. So on squaring, I will be getting d square by 4. Both the charges are acting along the same direction. So both F1 as well as F2 that is acting on A will be acting away from that of what? Away from that of the charge small q kept at A. So I am adding the two forces so that the net force available can be got. So I can write the net force is equal to F1 plus F2. In order to keep the system to be in equilibrium, this net force should be equal to 0. So substitute, we will be getting 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon 0 into Q square divided by D square plus 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon 0 into, taking the 4 to the numerator, 4 into small q into capital Q divided by D square is equal to 0. See, this equation can be simplified and can be written as 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon 0 into 1 divided by D square taken as a common factor. I will be getting Q square plus 4 small q into capital Q equal to 0. See, from this I can say Q square plus 4 into small q into capital Q is equal to 0. So I can get 4q square or small q square is equal to minus of, isn't it? And I am taking it to the other side. I can write minus of 4 into small q into capital Q. One of the small q can get cancelled. Therefore, I will be getting the value of capital Q as minus of small q divided by 4. So this is the option that is available, or this is the answer that we are able to get on simplification. So in order to keep the three charges considered to be the system of charges to be in equilibrium, the total amount of charge that is placed at the center point C is minus of small q divided by 4. So the option is considered to be what? The option B is taken to be correct. Hope you should have understood this problem, and let us move on to the next problem. Problem number 2. Come on, let us go with the second problem. The same type of problem as we have dealt in the previous case. See, three charges, small q, capital Q, and 4q are placed in a straight line of length L. So I am having a straight line of length L at point distances 0, L by 2 and L respectively from one end. So at one end I am having the charges small q. Then at a distance of L by 2 I am having a charge considered to be capital Q, and at a distance of another L by 2, that is at the other end, I am having a charge taken to be 4q. In order to make the net force on small q to be 0, the value of the total charge q is. So I have to calculate what is the force on q due to this capital Q. Let us consider that as F1. This will be acting in this direction because both are considered to be positive charges. So the net force on Q is a repulsive. Then the second one, due to this 4 plus 4Q, what is the force acting on this charge Q? Let us consider that force as F2. That force F2 is also acting away, or it is a repulsive force, so acting in the same direction. This is force F1 and this is force F2. Since F1 and F2 are in same direction, then I can say about the net force, where the net force is equal to sum of the two forces F1 plus F2, and it was given the net force on this charge Q is equal to 0. So what is F1 and what is F2? F1 is the force between this capital Q and small q. So according to Coulomb's inverse square law, I can write it out as 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 into small q into capital Q by square of this distance. So L by 2 the whole square plus what is F2? Force on small q by 4q. So the answer is 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon 0 into C small q into 4q whole divided by L by 2. Sorry, the distance is now L. Between 4q and between q, the distance is L. So I can write the square of the distance as L square is equal to 0. Now you simplify. How you can able to simplify? I can take this 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon 0 taken to be common. Then 1 divided by L square also taken to be common. So what is the remaining? Small q and capital Q. So I can take one of the small q also taken as a common factor. What will be the remaining? I will be getting capital Q divided by L square by 4. So the 4 will be coming to the numerator. So I am writing 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q divided by L square taken as a common factor. The first remaining is 4q plus the second remaining, you will be able to get 4 into small q is equal to what? Is equal to 0. So what will be your answer then? The answer that I am able to get is, when I am equating, I have to write 4 into capital Q plus 4 into small q equal to 0. So 4 into capital Q is equal to minus of 4 into small q. 4 will get cancelled. Therefore, the value of q will be equal to minus q. So the answer for the answer for this question is taken to be minus q. So option A is the answer. So answer is taken to be option A. Isn't it? Hope you should have understood. According to the given problem, the net charge on Q is 0. So I have calculated the total charge or the total force or the net force on the charge small q, and I have simplified to get the answer as what? To get the answer as minus q. Come on, go through the third problem. Three identical charges are fixed at the corners of an equilateral triangle. If the force between any two charges is F, then the net electrical force on each will be. So at any one of the corner, you can able to calculate the net force. The net force at any one of the corner is considered to be same in all the corners. So I am considering a diagram. I am taking a triangle, and the triangle given as an equilateral triangle. So the angle between the two sides is taken to be what? The angle between the two sides is taken to be 60 degrees. Let us take the corners as A, B, and C. In each corner, they are having charges, and the charges are considered to be identical in nature. So let us consider the charges available at each corner to be Q. So here one Q, here another Q, here another Q. At any one of the corner, you calculate the net force. See, the force between the two charges is considered to be F. If I am calculating the force that is available between the charge at A and charge at C, the force will be acting along the line joining the charges in this direction, and the value of the force is F. Similarly, if I am calculating the force on this charge Q at C due to the charge at B, then it is along the line joining the charges acting in this direction, and the magnitude of the force is F. So at this point C, I am having two forces acting, and the angle of inclination between the two forces is considered to be 60 degrees. See, at each and every corner, you will be having these two forces. Similarly, here also you will be having one of the force acting in this direction and another force acting in this direction. This is one F and this is another F. Similarly, at B also, one of the forces acting in this direction, another force acting in this direction, and the two forces are equal in magnitude, F and F. So at all the three corners, the forces acting are considered to be same. So the net force acting at each and every corner is also considered to be the same. How I can able to calculate the net force at any one of the corner or at each corner? Say I can construct a parallelogram. See, by constructing a parallelogram, I can say the resultant is acting along what? The resultant is acting along the line joining the diagonal, passing through the common point or passing through the common intersecting point. So this value will be giving you the resultant magnitude. So how to calculate the resultant magnitude? So the resultant force, let us consider it as Fr, is equal to root of F1 square plus F2 square plus 2 F1 F2 into cos theta. Using this formula, I can able to calculate the resultant force at any one of the corner. So Fr equal to root of, what is the value of F1? It is F. So F square plus, again, another F square plus, here I can write 2 into F into F. I can get it out as F square into cos, angle between the two forces, it is considered to be 60 degrees. On simplifying this, Fr equal to root of F square plus F square, I can get it out as 2F square plus, here again I will be able to get 2 into F square into, what is cos 60? Cos 60, I can write it out as 1 divided by 2. So this 2 and this 2 will get cancelled. You will be getting the answer as root of 2F square plus F square. 2F square plus F square. So the resultant force is equal to root of 3F square. Taking square root, you will be getting root 3 into F. Therefore, I am saying Fr equal to root 3 times the force that is available in between the two charges. So the final answer that I am able to get is root 3 times F. So option C is the answer. So I can say the option C is taken to be what? Option C is taken to be the answer. Come on, go through the problem. The problem number 4. 3 charges each of value Q are placed at the corners of an equilateral triangle. A fourth charge, capital Q, is placed at the center of the triangle. If the charge capital Q is equal to minus Q, then whether the charges will move towards the center or away from the center, or it is at rest, or it can move in any direction, that is the option given. So how to calculate? So first of all, let us consider an equilateral triangle. So in this equilateral triangle, all the corners are having equal charges, each of value Q. So this is one Q, this is another Q, and let us take this as another Q. The 3 corners, let us consider it as A, B, and C. As you have studied in the previous problem, at any one of the corner, you just consider any one of the corner, the force, the resultant force that is available, one of the force will be here F, and another force will be here, it is considered to be another F. So the resultant force that is available, in the previous problem we have calculated that the resultant force available as root 3F. So at each and every corner, the resultant force available is considered to be equal to root 3 into F. Here also the resultant force available is root 3F. Now another charge is placed at the center. So when you are considering the center, then it is the centroid of the triangle. Centroid of the triangle is like this. If it is the centroid of the triangle, from any one of the corner to the centroid, let us consider that centroid point as C. Here I am having another charge as capital Q. If that is the case, the distance of the centroid from any one of the corner is given by L divided by root 3. So I can write the distance of centroid C of the triangle is equal to, it is given by the formula, is equal to L divided by root 3. If that is the case, what is L? L, it was being given that the side of the triangle. Okay, if you are taking it as L divided by root 3, then I can calculate what is the force at the centroid due to any one of the charge available in the corner. So I am calculating the force on the total charge Q, or the capital Q at C due to any one of the small charge Q placed at any one of the corner. So what is the force? This force will be then equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon 0 into small q into capital Q multiplied with, see, at the center capital Q, you are having a value minus Q. So I can say magnitude is Q into Q, Q square divided by L square divided by root 3 the whole square, it is 3, which will be equal to 3 into 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon 0 into Q square divided by L square. What is this? 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q square by L square is the force between two charges, which we are calling it out as F. So this value will be equal to 3 times the force F. In what direction this force will be acting? This force will be acting along the corner to the center. If I am taking any one of the corner, that is, I am taking the corner point as B, then B2C, it will be acting along BC. If it is at point C, it is acting along C2C. If it is acting at the point C, for point A, then from A to C. Now, when you are considering the forces acting along the same line, if I am taking the point B, and at this point B, towards the center, I am having a force 3F. And away from the center, the resultant force due to the two forces at this point B, one due to the charge at A and another one due to the charge at C, then that value is considered to be √3 into F. So each and every corner will be having two forces acting in opposite side direction. So what is the net force at the corner? At what? Net force at each corner. So the net force at each corner is the difference between the two forces. That is 3F minus √3F. So I can write F into, what is the resultant? 3 minus √3. Along what direction? Along BC. So the net force at each and every corner is towards the centroid. So the net force at each corner, is towards what? Is acting towards the centroid. If it is acting towards the centroid, the answer will be the first option. The charges will try to move. That is, the charges at the corners will try to move towards what? Will try to move towards the center. That is the option. So the first one is the answer, or option A is the answer. Come on, let us go with the problem number 5. A charge capital Q is placed at each of the two opposite corners of a square. And another two charges, a charge small q, is placed at each of the other two corners. If the resultant electrical force on the charge q is 0, then what is the ratio? Small q divided by capital Q. See, let us consider a diagram. See, I am having a square. Let us take the side of the square as A or D, some other thing. So I am taking the side as A. Opposite corners are having the charges capital Q. So one of the side I am taking capital Q. So other side is also taken to be Q. The other two corners are having the charge as small q. What it is asked? See, if the resultant electrical force on small q is 0, so you take any one of the corner, either this corner, that is the top corner, or this corner. I am taking the bottom corner here. See, the net force on this charge is small q is 0, it is given. When I am taking this small q, then I can say I am having three forces acting on it. What are the three forces? This Q acting, that is this capital Q making a force on this small q in this direction. Let us consider that as F1. Then when I am taking this capital Q, then this capital Q will be producing a force on this small q and having another force taken to be F2. Then the third one, the small q placed at the opposite corner, diagonally opposite, which is at a distance of √2 into A. According to Pythagoras theorem, this diagonal length is considered to be √2 into A, can able to produce another force in this direction. Let it be F3. So at any one of the corner where I have placed the small charge q, it is experiencing three forces, F1, F2, and also F3. What is the net force that is available at this point Q? According to the problem, the net force acting at this point Q is taken to be 0. So I can say F1 vector plus F2 vector plus F3 vector is equal to 0 according to the problem. So according to problem, I can write according to the problem given. We can say F1 vector plus F2 vector plus F3 vector is equal to what? Is equal to 0. So first of all, what I have to calculate? First of all, I have to calculate what is the resultant force between F1 and F2. That resultant force between F1 and F2 will be acting in the same direction as that of F3. So I am writing that resultant force as Fr. First of all, I am calculating Fr. And after calculating Fr, I can say Fr and F3 are in same direction. Then for these two, I have to take the resultant again. So first of all, let us calculate Fr. What is Fr? Fr is the resultant force of F1 and F2. What is the resultant force of F1 and F2? Fr will be then equal to root of F1 square plus F2 square plus 2 F1 F2 into cos. Angle between F1 and F2 is considered to be 90 degree. So cos 90 will become 0. So the third term becomes 0. So what is the value of Fr then? Fr will be equal to root of, what is F1? F1 is 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon 0 into one of the charges capital Q, another charge is small q. So I am writing capital Q into small q by square of this distance. Square of that distance is a square plus what is F2? F2 is also of same value. So I can write 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon 0 into capital Q into small q divided by what? Small q divided by a square. Since I am considering the magnitude, I am writing Fr equal to root of 2 into 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon 0 into capital Q into small q divided by this a square. See, how I can write this means, I am taking it like this. See, instead of q into q, so this is, for this I have to take square, isn't it? So here one square and for this one square. So 2 times the square of this value. So I can write Fr equal to root 2 times this value, because when I am taking square root, I will be getting this. Instead of 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0, I am putting a constant capital K. Then capital Q into small q divided by a square. Let us take this as equation number 1. This Fr is the resultant of F1 and F2. Now you calculate you calculate the value of F3. What is the value of F3? F3 is the force between the two charges small q and small q available at the two corners along the diagonal. So F3 is again 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0. Instead of that, I am taking K. Product of the charges small q into small q. I am taking it as q square divided by square of the distance between the diagonals. So I can get root 2 into a, the whole square. So the value of F3 will be equal to K into q square by 2a square. Take this as equation number 2. Now we can say the value of Fr and the value of F3 are acting along same direction. If they are acting along same direction, then I can write F net is equal to Fr vector plus F3 vector. Since both are acting along same direction, I am writing the total magnitude. F net is equal to Fr plus F3. According to the problem, net force on this charge Q, okay, net force on that small charge Q is given as 0. Therefore, F net equal to 0. F net equal to 0 means I can write F net equal to, what is Fr? Fr is root 2 into K into capital Q into small q divided by a square plus, what is F3? F3 is k into q square divided by 2a square. This value f net is equal to, that is equal to 0. If so, I can simplify this using, by taking common. I can take k common, q square, see, instead of q square, I am taking q as the common, divided by a square common, isn't it? K common, q, small q common, a square common. What is the remaining? Here I am getting root 2 into q plus the remaining available here is 1 divided by, sorry, q divided by 2 or q divided by 2, and this value is equal to 0. On simplifying, I will be getting it as root 2q is equal to, taking this to the other side, minus of q divided by 2. So what is the value of q then? The value of q is equal to, or you are asked to calculate the ratio. Take this q to the other side. So q divided by q equal to minus of 1 divided by 2 root 2. So I can able to get the answer as, that is the ratio capital Q divided by small q is equal to minus of 1 divided by 2 root 2. So the first option is the answer. So A, the first option is 1 divided by 2 root 2. So using this, I can able to get this answer. Hope you should have understood this. So let us move on to the next problem. Problem number 6. Two particles of mass m and charge q are separated by a small distance. If they are in equilibrium under the mutual gravitational and electrostatic force between them, you are asked to calculate the ratio q divided by m in coulomb per kilogram is of the order of. See, I can consider two bodies. The two bodies are separated by a distance d. The bodies are having equal mass m and m. The two bodies are having equal charges q and q. See, they are being balanced by mutual gravitational and electrostatic force, because it is given they are in equilibrium under mutual gravitational and electrostatic force. So gravitational force, I am writing it as Fg, and electrostatic force, I am writing it as Fe. According to universal law of gravitation, this Fg is given by g into m1 into m2. So I will be getting m square divided by square of the distance d square is equal to electrostatic force. If I am stating the electrostatic force, then I am saying the constant k, 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon 0, the constant k into product of the charges q1 into q2, both are of value q. So q into q, q square divided by square of the distance d square. So on substituting the values for g, I can write 6.67 into 10 to the power of minus 11 multiplied with m square divided by d square is equal to, what is the constant k in case of electrostatics? It is 9 into 10 to the power of 9 Newton meter square per coulomb square into q square divided by d square. On simplifying, this d square and this d square will get cancelled. See, the question asks is if they are in the order of, so we can neglect this numerical values also. Let us consider only the powers. So what you can able to get then you can able to get m square into 10 to the power of minus 11 is equal to q square into 10 to the power of 9. You are asked to calculate q by m. So instead of small q, if I am considering it as capital Q, because the given charge is taken to be capital Q, so I am writing capital Q square, taking this m to the other side, divided by m square is equal to, see here I am getting 10 power minus 11, taking this 10 power 9 to the other side, I can divide this with 10 power 9, which is equal to, taking this to the numerator, I will be getting 10 to the power of minus 20. Taking square root, I can get q divided by m, which is equal to, taking square root on the other side, I will be getting 10 to the power of minus 10. So the ratio of charge to mass ratio, charge to mass, charge of the given body to the mass of the given body, charge to mass is in the order of 10 to the power of minus 10. So the option is taken to be what? The option is taken to be the second option. Option B is as the answer. Hope you should have understood this. Come on, let us see the next problem. Problem number 7. 3-point charges are placed at the corners of an equilateral triangle. Assume that only electrostatic forces are acting on them. Then, see, let us consider an equilateral triangle, corners of an equilateral triangle. So I am considering an equilateral triangle having an angle between the two sides is 60 degrees. What it is asked, 3-point charges are placed at the corner. So the 3-point charges, I am considering it as Q, 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 or I can consider this as Q1, this as Q2, another one as Q3. This is Q1, this is Q2, another one as Q3. Assume that there is only electrostatic force between them. If you are considering any one of the corner, see, the electrostatic force between Q1 and Q2 will be acting along this direction. And the electrostatic force between Q3 and Q2 will be acting in this direction. So the resultant will be acting along this. Similarly, if I am considering the charge Q3, the electrostatic force between Q1 and Q3 will be acting along this direction. Between Q3 and Q2, it will be acting along this direction. So the resultant force will be along the line joining the diagonal. The same concept available at Q1 also. On Q1, due to Q2, the resultant force will be, the force will be acting along this direction. And due to Q3, on Q1, the force will be acting on this direction. If the charges are of same nature, then the resultant will be along this direction. If they are in opposite side direction, then also the resultant will be along the line joining the diagonal passing through the common point. In any of these cases, the resultant force or the net force never be equal to 0. At any corner, at any corners, at any one of the corner or at any corners, the net force never be equal to 0. Never be equal to 0. If the force is never be equal to 0 means the charges or the system cannot be in equilibrium. If that is the case, when you are considering the option, the first option it was being given, the system will be in equilibrium. The system never be in equilibrium. So the first option is wrong. The second option also they are asking or they are giving, the system is in equilibrium. So second option is also wrong. In third one, the system will be again said to be in equilibrium. Then the third option is also wrong. So we are saying the system can never be in what? The system can never be in equilibrium is the option, because at any of these corners, the net force cannot be made 0. Since the net force cannot be made 0, the system cannot be in equilibrium condition. So the answer is the system can never be in equilibrium. So let us stop with this in this video and let us meet in the next video. Until then, goodbye and thank you from Ravi Shankar. Thank you.